ESPN's Holiday Hoops, presented by Zales. And welcome to Tallahassee in the Donald Tucker Center. From the ACC, number 24, Florida State taking on Charleston Southern. Hello again, everybody. Along with Corey Alexander, I'm Dave Lamont. Thank you for joining us. And Corey, on Saturday, something happened to Florida State that hasn't happened all season. They lost.
And they felt like they gave a game away. 22 turnovers for the Seminoles. And coming back after the exam week, hadn't played in a week, and coming off a number of big wins, Coach Hamilton felt as though his team took Oklahoma State for granted. But give Mike Boynton and his team credit for coming up with a huge win in the state of Florida.
Yeah, they made the plays at the end of the game. FSU struggled from the foul line also, especially in the second half, shooting under 60% for the game in a one-point loss. For the Seminoles, Terrence Mann anchors this fine starting five of Kofor, Angola, Obiagu, and Walker. And for Charleston Southern, some changes made as Jamal David getting the start at point guard tonight. Flandris Fleming is out, so number 12, Ty Jones, will come in and take his place. The guy to watch, number 11, Christian Keeling, who's scored 20 or more in his last three. Charleston Southern in the blue, the Noles in their gold. Our officials, Jamie Lucky, Lee Cassell, and Jeff Pond.
The opportunity, Jamal David getting the start at the point guard, as you mentioned, but one of the things that's going to be different for him, having to play against this pressure from Florida State, where their guards like to get after you, and you see a turnover on the first play of the game by David. We give Brian Angola a lot of credit for applying the ball pressure.
David is a redshirt freshman getting this opportunity tonight with Deontay Buskey now will be coming off the bench. He too is a freshman. This is a young team for Barclay Radabaugh, the head coach.
And Florida State worked a lot on pressure defense. They know that Charleston Southern is going to try to play them 94 feet as well. But the thing with Florida State, you have so many different guys who are capable of handling the ball in the full court.
Inside Obiagu, he drew some attention and his shot was blocked. The Seminoles surrounding the basket. And a three-pointer going down from the outside by Angola.
You see Florida State right now with the full court pressure picking up, and Charleston Southern going to try to put the ball in different players' hands to try to take away that Florida State pressure from the guards, but Phil Kofor doing a good job picking up and applying pressure as well.
Jones kind of got into a crowd of FSU defenders, but Keeling will come away with it. Shot clock at 9. That three is well short. Offensive rebound. McConaughey going to the glass, no good. And Obiagu with a rebound.
This is the way Florida State wants to play. They want to get out in transition. C.J. Walker with the three at the top, unable to finish it. But Leonard Hamilton doesn't mind those quick shots as long as his guys are getting back defensively. Felt like they gave up way too many easy opportunities to Oklahoma State in transition on Saturday.
David looking for an assist here, and he'll get it on a three ball from Travis McConaughey, junior from Jacksonville.
And you see Charleston Southern, when they score, they want to pick up full court. They don't want to allow Florida State to be able to bring the ball up easily and pick them apart on the offensive end of the floor.
That's Terrence Mann. Angola. Wide open, Kofor. Well short. That's going to be an offensive foul clearly on the screen set there by Jordan Jones. Take a look at Barclay Radabaugh, 13 seasons at Charleston Southern. He was pretty upbeat. They've had a couple of tough losses in their last two games, but didn't seem to bother him, at least not when he was talking to us.
Yeah, and he talked about how young his team was and having 10 newcomers with this group. He can't afford to get down on them and be negative, so he has to stay positive and keep these guys going, understanding that the key for them is being able to produce in Big South play. Right now, they're having to take on the likes of Florida State, NC State, playing a number of big-time teams, but he wants his team to improve as they get into conference play.
And Leonard Hamilton, the winningest coach in Florida State history, 16 seasons in Tallahassee. In the NCAA tournament last year, knocked out by Xavier. For three. No problem for the lefty, C.J. Walker, a 38% three-point shooter.
And Florida State really has 2 point guards, and you think about two guys that could be starting. C.J. Walker getting the start right now, but Trent Forrest really was the guy that was slated to be the point guard early in the year, got injured before the season started, and C.J. Walker has done an admirable job getting in. You see him get out of transition.
Great patience shown there by Mann to stick with it after he fumbled it, and he gets the layup for his first points of the night. And
as good of a defender as Trent Forrest is, C.J. Walker probably better, especially when you think about the full court and having to pick up. It's going to be a tough time for Jamal Davis to be able to hand the ball against that pressure of Walker in the 94 feet.
And again, David getting the start tonight, and what a difficult or a great opportunity, depending on how you want to look at it, for David. And so far, he has picked up an assist, but has also turned it over. Steal here, that time by Keeling. He'll go all the way and lay it in.
That's a young man that just knows how to score. Keeling scored 539 points a year ago as a freshman. I'm still trying to figure out how he didn't win Big South Freshman of the Year when you score that. He has a chance to become only the 4th player in Big South history to score 1,000 points before the end of his sophomore year. That is a special young player.
Yeah, he was all freshman last year, preseason first team all Big South, and he's, as I mentioned, on a roll of 3 straight 20-point games. Oh, nice look here. Big finish by Mann. Beautiful execution. Yeah, that's a rejection there on the help defense by Obiagu. And that will send us to our first break with Florida State. A couple of threes and a couple of baskets from Terrence Mann, leading 10-5.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Zale. 'Tis the season to save and sparkle more than ever. Dr. Scholl's massaging gel insoles. And Wendy's. Get great offers when you download the Wendy's app.
You're watching the ACC on ESPN tonight. Charleston Southern taking on the Seminoles of Florida State. Winners of the conference in 2009 and 2010. Corey and Dave with you here, and we are alarmingly close to conference play in the ACC and in the Big South, and these games are great preparation.
They really are, and when you think about Charleston Southern coming in here and having to face the type of size and the pressure they're going to play against Florida State, they won't see this in Big South play, but Florida State trying to get back on the right track after dropping a game on Saturday and not too far away from their showdown at Cameron Indoor with Duke to start off ACC play on December 30th.
And they have forced 3 turnovers, leading to 8 points. Now we see Cortez Mitchell with the ball, checking in during the timeout. Also, Javis Howard, number 23, is in. Here's a 3 ball at the buzzer, off the back of the iron, no good. Rebound to Angola, and here come the Noles.
And I mentioned Trent Forrest in the first part of the game, talking about Florida State having 2 point guards, but you see Trent Forrest and C.J. Walker both on the court at the same time right now, and Leonard Hamilton is comfortable playing both those point guards, especially with the fact that they're able to get the job done defensively.
Also in the game, Jamar Martin, number 5. He has it right there. So a lot of substitutions early for the Buccaneers. Defense really extending here, down to 8. Mitchell. They work it out, McConaughey. Good shot fake. Perfectly done, 10-8.
And McConaughey has come out shooting the ball extremely well, but if you're Charleston Southern, this flat out cannot happen. Off of a made 3-pointer, you give up an easy dunk, and Coach Radebach can't be happy about that.
I think he turned to whatever assistant had the scout for this game and let him have it just a little bit.
Yeah, as if that was the assistant coach's fault.
Listen, he's got to blame somebody until he gets him in the huddle. Well, that is a great drive by Christian Keeling, going in amongst many bigger bodies. He's 6'4", and the Noles have size.
That's a generous 6'4", by the way, because I walked past him earlier today, and if he's 6'4", I'm definitely 6'3.5", and I've been measured at 6'1" my entire life.
But we're listed at 6'4".
But it makes the play even bigger for Keeling because you see his ability to finish over bigger players.
Contact away from the ball, going to be an offensive foul against Florida State. I want to remind you that Tuesday at 7 Eastern on ESPN, and of course the ESPN app, will have the Cheribundi Tart Cherry Boca Raton Bowl. Lane Kiffin and his record-setting FAU offense against the Akron Zips, who are the MAC East champions. Should be a fun night at FAU Stadium. Really a home game for the Owls.
Well, it's always going to be fun if Lane Kiffin's involved.
He has been, I tell you what, he's really been something on social media. And the best part is he's picking on a guy in Nick Saban who doesn't know he's being picked on, or at least doesn't see it.
How about doesn't know and doesn't care? I don't really think that there's also much that Lane Kiffin can do to get to Nick Saban.
No.
Nick Saban's got a handful of rings that speak for itself.
Well, Lane picked up one from him, too. Knowles very aggressive, as they always are defensively. 5 to shoot. And stolen away. Beautiful in the air, but not good enough. Control just a little bit off that time for Trent Forrest, who was in the game, a player Corey talked about earlier, number 3 in gold.
And Trent Forrest wearing that brace on the left knee. He's not as explosive as he normally is. I talked to him earlier today, asked him, I said, how close are you to being back to normal? First he said 90%, and I told him, I said, well, I talked to Coach Hamilton a lot in the fall. He told me how well you were playing, how close are you to that? He said, okay, maybe 75%.
Well, he has it there after Angola with the interception. Shooter open in the corner. That is M.J. Walker for 3.
But you see, Florida State has no problem playing fast and taking threes in transition. Leonard Hamilton encourages those shots, knowing that he has a number of guys that can knock them down.
Again, deep in the shot clock with 6 on it. Back of the iron, no good. Rebound tapped around. The Knowles with control. This is Forrest. Going quickly by Mitchell, then kicks it back out. 4-3. And another rebound coming off the bench here. Martin's done well on the glass.
And 2 good looks from Florida State in those 2 possessions, and a great job there.
And the offensive foul drawn by Walker. We'll be right back. 12-10, Florida State in front of Charleston Southern. The Seminoles ranked 24th. That lost to Oklahoma State on Saturday in South Florida, dropping them from 19 to 24. Charleston Southern 4-5. They feel like they ought to be 6-3. They got cold in 2 consecutive losses to South Carolina State and Eastern Kentucky and lost late.
And Coach Radeball told us they're really 2 free throws away from being 6-3, but against Eastern Kentucky didn't have a field goal for the final 9 minutes. 9.5 minutes of that game, didn't score for the final 4.5. So, you know, but he's got a young team that has to learn how to win, and it's something that the only way you can get that done is through experience.
That offensive foul on Obiagu is his first and the 3rd turnover by the Seminoles. One big problem here for Charleston Southern. They have 1 assist. They have 6 turnovers.
Well, and one of the things with Florida State, they put so much pressure on you, especially out in the passing lanes defensively. It's hard to run your offense. Leonard Hamilton has always had teams that were capable of switching on defense, and a lot of that has to do with they play such bigger guards. No one under 6'5" on the floor right now for Florida State.
And a buzzer beater by Keeling. That landed with about 2 seconds left on the shot clock, and the Buccaneers have a lead.
And Keeling is a special talent. He's one of those guys, it doesn't matter who you put him in the gym with, he can score. Regardless of the level of play, he can put numbers on the board.
What a tough drive by Mann. The Seminoles had not scored in their last 5 possessions until Mann gave the Seminoles the lead back.
And a lot of the reason why they hadn't scored in those last 5 possessions were they were taking a lot of jump shots. Terrence Mann taking upon those huge shoulders of his own to get it to the rim.
Oh, Jones threw a little bit of contact, and the bump didn't bother him, and the Buccaneers are back in front.
And give Jones credit. He's done a very good job handling the ball when Florida State has tried to put pressure on them in the full court as well. And they're having to do it with bigger players, not the 2 point guards. And Jones has done a very good job handling that pressure.
You got Jordan Jones, number 13, Ty Jones on defense there, number 12. That's the first field goal miss for Mann, and a foul on Florida State underneath. Well, on Friday, we're going to have another star-studded NBA doubleheader to tip off your weekend at 8 Eastern. DeAndre Jordan and the Clippers are in Houston to take on James Harden, Chris Paul, and the Hot Rockets, who have won 11 in a row. Then off to the Oracle, it's Lonzo and the Lakers squaring off against KD and the Warriors. Coverage tips the NBA Countdown, 7:30 on ESPN and the ESPN app. And Obiagu exits with 2 fouls.
How about my boy getting his number? Both numbers retired tonight. Kobe Bean, number 8 and number 24, going up into the Raptors for the Lakers.
Some nice numbers they hang up there, too.
Yeah.
Big debate on Facebook I was participating in who are the 5 best Lakers of all time.
Well, all you had to do was ask me, I could have told you.
Let's see if our lists match. Go ahead. Number one should be fairly easy.
Well, the number one Laker of all time is fairly easy?
Yeah.
I don't think it's very easy. I mean, it's a conversation between Magic and Kobe.
Okay, I'd go with Magic.
Okay.
Hang on here. We've got time for this. We've got 6 seconds on the shot clock here for Charleston Southern to figure this out. And we'll let people also.
We know where the ball is going.
Yeah, it's going to go over his head is where it's going. He's just going to have to fire the world's longest three. And that'll be a turnover.
I had to shoot one of those today and shoot around for Florida State, and it was probably a worse result than that one we just saw.
It was I was going to say it went wide right, but then people from Florida State would get mad at me for that. I don't mean it that way, but your throw was wide right.
And it was left, so you were really off.
Well, your second one was left. You missed them on both sides.
So you're saying my third one would have been straight down the middle.
Had you shot a third one, I was rooting for you then.
I appreciate it.
And it's a good thing I didn't roll any video on that either. I did you a big solid.
Well, if the cameras come out, I would have made it.
Of course you would have. Again, a 38% three-point shooter. He is the all-time leader at Florida State College of Jacksonville in threes, and he grabs the rebound there off a quick shot.
And 3 3-pointers already from McConaughey. He's come in locked and loaded. It must be something about the state of Florida that he can appreciate. Likes the humidity shooting the ball here.
He's going to do it again. Oh, and that was almost a fourth that just rimmed out. Seminoles running.
I like the mentality, though. He knew as soon as he got his hands on that one, it was going up.
Man will draw contact here. Let's see who the foul is on.
Travis McConaughey getting the job done. Happy to be back in the state of Florida. 3 threes already here in the first half off the beautiful pump fake. And then staying behind that line. And then the quick release to get it over the outstretched hand of Terrence Mann. McConaughey off to a great start already with 9 of Charleston Southern's 18 points.
That foul on Jones, Ty Jones, is his second. Let's make that 13 Jordan Jones with 2 fouls. My bad. And so he will check out.
One of the areas of concern for Coach Radeball coming into this game, they don't have a tremendous amount of depth. So, and of course, they're playing also without a number of players in this game. So when you look at that, that's something that he has to be concerned about. Foul trouble could be more detrimental to them than it would be for the Seminoles, who have, you know, although playing without 2 of their bigs, they're going to play smaller in this game anyway.
Gotta go. I'll tell you one thing, Florida State is forcing Charleston Southern to go deep into the shot clock every possession. Here we're down to 5. Conago fakes, steps back, has to get rid of it. 1 to shoot, and I think that's a violation.
Well, because the shot was made, the officials are able to go over and check it to see if he got it off on time. One of the rules instituted in the game a couple of years ago, and you see working the shot clock. McConaughey doesn't force the 3, and we got a great look there. That's going to be interesting because it looks as though, just from the naked eye, without seeing it coming down to seconds, it looks as though that was pretty good. He may have gotten that out of his hand in time before the clock hit 0.
And my first instinct was he didn't, but we've had the benefit of replay. Let's take one more look at it.
Well, we have to look at around the backboard. There's a red lighting, and so we probably can see better from this angle, see if it lights up before he gets it out of his hands.
But you know what? The red lighting doesn't go off at all, even when we're at 0.
Yeah, we don't see the red lighting.
No, and that would be a huge help, but it did not go off there. So that is a very difficult one. And by the way, this isn't like football. There's no ruling on the field to overturn. They have not designated this as a miss or as a basket.
Yeah.
Or as a violation, I should say, or as a basket. So
honestly, I believe they're going to come back and say that was a good basket. With it being so close, I believe the officials will come back and say that that's good. Now, I have been wrong once in my life, so therefore,
I don't remember that.
No, I don't either. No. Somebody told me I was, but
they were wrong.
This could be the second time, but I'm thinking that basket is actually going to count. Get another look at it. 1, as you see 0, but it's hard to tell from that angle, but the ball may actually be out of his hand, off his palm right there. That's as close as you can get. I think when it's that close, I think you got to go ahead and give it to him.
Let's see. Jamie Luckey and Lee Cassell with the video monitor. It's either a basket or a turnover.
Look at, oh,
nope, it's
way
a turnover.
Yep. Second time in my life I'm wrong.
And now it's on tape. Now people can go to YouTube and watch it all day long.
Terrible. I'm having a conversation with Mr. Luckey after the game. He didn't know what he had riding on that one.
Let's hope he's not at the same motel we are. He's going to hope he's not at the same motel we are.
Brandon Allen checking into the game for the Seminoles. Charleston Southern still getting an opportunity to pick up now in a 2-2-1 full court pressure. Trying to throw Florida State off of its attack a little bit, but just like that.
I don't think they did it.
It did not work in that case, but Florida State worked a lot on that and shoot around today, so they've scouted, of course, Charleston Southern playing the 2-2-1, and you have to stop that ball handler, because if you allow guys like C.J. Walker, Trent Forrest, and Angola to be able to attack the rim, they know how to make the right plays.
Aconico, way off that time. It apparently clipped the rim, and now we have a foul.
Well, there's only one way to truly finish off the fast break. M.J. Walker with the beautiful feed to Phil Kofer, who gets it done.
Alabama, New Year's Day on ESPN.
We can't wait for all of that, and we can't wait. They've had 36, 17th different bowl game, and any Conference USA team, December 27th from Shreveport, 1:30 Eastern. Billy Taggart's got to find a staff for next. Oh, and Jones is rejected by Kofer. Can the Noles do something with this? Walker. No, they cannot.
Great play by Aconico, who's gotten it done on both ends of the floor here so far this evening.
The officials aren't 100% sure yet who's got the ball. And it's going to go to the home team.
And even though Florida State gets back defensively and stops that, give Travis Aconico a lot of credit for the way that he's played in this game. Come out very aggressive on the offensive end, but more importantly, getting it done defensively as well, as we see Charleston Southern now going to Florida State. This is where they're going to have to step up and make some perimeter shots to try to get Charleston Southern out of that zone.
Brandon Allen is in the game. He has the ball now. Back to Kofer. Now 8 to shoot. Lefty three. Swish. C.J. Walker.
C.J. Walker has hit all three of Florida State's three-pointers in this game. No other Seminole has been able to have any success from beyond the arc. And that's another one of the areas where C.J. Walker is getting so many minutes, because he's the one guy that they can rely on to knock down shots, even though he's 1 for 8 in that loss against Oklahoma State.
Seminoles have been known ever since Leonard Hamilton arrived in Tallahassee for tough defense. Aconico, that's a difficult shot. Missed it. He's cooled off just a little bit. Walker looking for the rebound. M.J. Walker, 23. That's a tough shot. And rebound, Ty Jones.
Yeah, you talked about Leonard Hamilton and being known for defense, but it's a different defense now than it was when Coach Ham first got here. Florida State won a ACC championship in 2012. The last couple of years, they have been more of an up and down 94-foot defensive team, pressuring in comparison to the traditional half-court man-to-man team that Coach Ham brought to this program.
So we're knotted at 20 inside 6 minutes in this opening half. Between the ACC and the Big South, Allen and an alley-oop. Kofer. Team to shoot. B.J. Savoy, junior from Las Vegas, number 5, checks in. Allen will check out, as will M.J. Walker, man in the game.
Well, against the zone for Florida State, you want number 5, P.J. Savoy, in the game. He is always locked and loaded, ready to fire from 3 especially. And a knockdown shooter. Hasn't had a great year so far shooting the basketball, but he's a guy that you always have to recognize where he is on the court, especially if you're playing a zone.
And Trent Forrest, who checked in, now has the ball after that long pass.
But just like that, Charleston Southern, a great adjustment by Coach Radwall, going to a man-to-man.
2 to shoot, to 1. No such luck. Ball pretty much dropped out of Savoy's hand, and it's turned over. Now they're should get an easy 2 here.
But I told you about C.J. Walker, his ability to pressure 94. Say he was a great shooter, right?
Yes,
I didn't say he was a great layup maker. I just said shooter. There's a difference between the two.
Mitchell saw lane, hesitated. Now Koper sends it back. Mitchell tried to make the diving save, and it's going to be Seminoles ball.
C.J. Walker. And then the lefty going with the right for the easy finish.
Timeout taken by the Buccaneers at the 4:59 mark. We'll step aside. Coming up on our Zales halftime report, Chris Cutter and Seth Greenberg will talk about freshman stars in the Big 12, the tough road ahead for these Seminoles, and we'll have highlights and stats. And Florida State has a blisteringly difficult front end of their ACC schedule. We already talked about Duke coming up soon.
They're talking about Big 12 freshman stars, and you can only start at the nation's leading scorer at 28.8 points per game. Trey playing not so young, getting the job done at Oklahoma. Huge win for Oklahoma over number 3 Wichita State. Assists also to go along with his 29 points in that game. And he has really taken the college basketball world by storm and what he's been able to do this year. Marvin Bagley Jr. even better.
My goodness, Koper with another violent slam for the senior.
I keep saying junior, Marvin Bagley third. It's Wendell Carter Jr.
There you go. We'll have plenty of chance. Well, no, maybe only a year, I should say.
Yeah, you'll get a year of chance for both of them.
That's a good pass by Keeling. That's another rejection. This time it's by man. The Seminoles beginning to assert their will defensively. Koper, one more dunk? No, but he'll go to the line instead. Florida State back in front by 4. 3:54 to go. The Seminoles starting to play big.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Aleve Direct Therapy. Get drug-free, deep penetrating.
Florida State huddle, and surprisingly, they are being out-rebounded, Corey. You've got some size. You get too many boots on that bench. When you see these guys sit down, you see Chris Kumaji there in the gray.
7 offensive rebounds for Charleston Southern, who is a very good than Charleston Southern. That's, I'm sure, an area of concern for Leonard Hamilton, but lost on Saturday, and a lot of that had to do with the fact that they gave up. Has addressed with his team, but it hasn't sunk through yet because Charleston Southern's done a great job here in the first half attacking that offensive glass.
We've only had 4 free throws shot in this half, all of them by the Seminoles. They've made 3 out of 4. Air ball, put back, no.
It's a rebound, even off the air ball. Charleston Southern coming up with the basketball. And Terrence Mann, regardless, still turning it into points on the other end of the floor.
He just kind of chucked that up on the contact.
Well, and contact really doesn't bother Terrence Mann. You get an opportunity to see him and still does a great job getting it up on the rim soft enough to drop it in for 2.
Take a look at the junior from Lowell, Mass. One of 4 in the ACC, who's top 20 in points and rebounds. In fact, he had a career-high 14 rebounds Saturday in the Orange Bowl Basketball Classic.
To go along with the career-high 25 points. No, that was against Florida.
Right, he had 20 yeah, against the Cowboys.
Yeah, career-high 25 against Florida, but a double.
25 against the Cowboys would have been good for Florida State. They would have won.
They would have won by 1. They would have won by 4 on that one. Yeah. Losing that one by 1.
So we have a 4th team foul there against Florida State. So this game has been lightly but properly officiated. That's when he chips to the line.
Well, we've got a little conversation going on right now. Jamie Lucky, Lee Cassell both getting involved, but we had a little conversations going on, just a little intimate conversations that you don't want everyone to hear. Say what you got to say up close.
Part of the game, and you know what? They just told them to step back, and they did, and that's the way you handle it.
Yep, a great job by the officiating crew to step in there and let them know we're not going to tolerate it. Let's take care of it now without having to issue out any technical foul.
And that is now 2 of the last 13 field goals for Charleston Southern. And a nice shot there by Howard, the senior from Irmo, South Carolina.
And Howard recognizing the mismatch, having C.J. Walker on his back. And C.J. Walker loves that challenge of being able to take on the big guys. C.J. listed at 6'1", but again, a very generous listing.
There is absolutely such a thing as basketball height.
And he cut his hair. It's the first time I've seen him since he's cut his hair off. He said he's been playing better ever since. I said, but yeah, you're probably a legitimate 5'10" now that you cut your hair.
Shoot. Once again, Charleston Southern going to go into single digits on the shot clock. David with a nice spin move and a nice pass, but it was low. And unable to handle a bounce with Jones, and here come the Noles.
And Charleston Southern already into double-digit turnovers here in this first half.
They have 11. And that is not going to be an offensive rebound. It's going to be an over-the-back foul. And it's going to be very quickly. We're going to get the return of Brian Angola for FSU, probably for the half, and we're going to get MJ Walker back in as PJ Savoy will check out.
And that's the thing with Florida State. They have so many interchangeable parts to where when Terrence Mann goes out, you can bring in a Brian Angola and then bring in MJ Walker. You know, and Terrence Mann is really the one guy that's a different player than everyone else on this team. There's so many interchangeable guards, but Terrence Mann is that one guy who gets it done, especially on the defensive end of the floor and on the glass, shooting 64% from the floor. Leonard Hamilton doesn't really have a substitute for him. There's no one else that he can bring off the bench that gives you the type of production that Terrence Mann gives you.
9 points. He shot the ball very well, but a couple of fouls on him. Keeling with 9 after that goaltend.
It seems like so long ago, Terrence Mann came in with that class of Malik Beasley and Dwayne Bacon, who are both now playing in the NBA. Mann's still the only one left here at Florida State.
Turnover number 5 on the Seminoles. That gets the Charleston Southern bench jacked.
You know, and give Coach Radabaugh and his team a lot of credit coming in shorthanded, missing a couple players, coming off 3 straight losses, but yet here they are, 28-24, I mean, down 4 points to the best competition that they played this season all year long. So when you think about it, he has to be happy with their effort so far here in the first half.
McConaughey has cooled since that little run of threes. That time he missed everything. That's going to be a long three, no good. Rebound, tapped around, and the Buccaneers and Keeling coming away with it. Keeling doing a little bit of everything right now for Charleston Southern.
And he does that. I mean, when you think about a young man that's he attacks the rim again, and you go back and you look at the names, just think of the NBA draft like last year. Markelle Fultz, Jason Tatum, De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, on and on and on. Christian Keeling was the only freshman in the country to lead his team in scoring and rebounding. I mean, that is a phenomenal stat. I mean, that's something that he can tell his grandchildren about. He did something that, you know, so many lottery picks were unable to do, having a great freshman year. I need to talk to somebody at the Big South.
Very well, you know what? They're listening right now.
Win Rookie of the Year. I'm not sure who won it, but he had to have had a phenomenal season. When you think about a young man led his team as a freshman in scoring and rebounding, averaged over 17 points per game, and did not win Conference Rookie of the Year. They couldn't have given him co-rookies of the year.
They got to shoot this here. Another tough one. And this time, McConaughey finds the touch. We're under 25 seconds and counting shot clock is off. And Charleston Southern with a nice finish here to get this down to a 2-point game. 6-0 run. Four, 3, 2, 1. And that'll be the half. That will not count. In fact, almost hit the scoreboard. So a excellent run by the Buccaneers at the end, keeping this one close in this ACC Big South battle. Florida State leading at 28-26. 9 assists and 5 turnovers, but only a 2-point lead. We're going to take you to the Zales halftime report with Chris Cotter and Seth Greenberg after these messages.
To the Zales halftime report.
Courtside in Tallahassee. You are watching ESPN's Holiday Hoops presented by Zales. And inbounding right in front of us will be the Seminoles in the gold, Charleston Southern. And they come out trapping right away.
But that's the thing. When you trap, you have to make sure you take care of that backside. Florida State not taking advantage of it. The Brian Angola had an opportunity to be aggressive off of the trap and make a play.
Well, that's a sweet wraparound. The dunk attempt by Obiagu is no good. However, he draws a foul.
And Obiagu and Terrence Mann, you see, tight roping that line. Obiagu, an extremely athletic big man. If not for the contact, that definitely would have been a highlight.
Coached that free throw in.
I was about to say, that's an odd free throw shooting style. But, you know, the thing is, shooting is really one-handed. And so the left hand that he would have on the ball really is a God hand. And if you don't need it, this is the way you actually teach shooting and form shooting. And Obiagu coming up with 2 beautiful free throws there, using his form shot to knock down and get 2 points.
But he is someone who is really learning the game. So much he hasn't accomplished in his young career.
For the record coming in, I believe he was 5 for 20 from the free throw line. So, you know, I'm sure that's something that Coach Stan Jones has worked with him on. And he's basically shooting form shots from the line, but 2 for 2 there is definitely an improvement.
And meantime, Christian Keeling, the main man for the Buccaneers, cuts the lead to 1. Walker with a drive. Seminoles. Oh, Kofor going for another dunk, and it's sent back. Jordan Jones got the block for the lead. Back iron, no good. Kofor gets the rebound.
That would have been a big make for Charleston Southern to be able to take the lead back over to start the second half. And again, now back in that 2-3 zone. Kofor, who made 5 3-pointers against Oklahoma State, unable to finish on that one, but of course capable of knocking down the 3. But Florida State, as a team, really just has not shot the ball very well here this evening.
Kofor came in. There's a steal by Obiagu.
I'm not sure what Jones was thinking on that one.
Oh, man is demanding a foul. He's not going to get it against Keeling, but he is going to get the bucket, man, in double digits.
Did you do that on purpose? Was that a play on words when you said, oh, man?
No, actually, did I say that?
You did. It was good.
Good.
See, when you say good things, you can't ask, did you say that? Well, you got to stick with it.
I don't remember what I say from time to time. Like every sentence goes in the past very quickly. I won't forget to say this, however. Zales bringing us our first half scoring leaders. McConaughey for Charleston Southern and Terrence Mann for FSU. And he has added a couple to that. One of the top players in the conference, Terrence Mann, the ACC.
And a two-way player, gets the job done on both ends of the floor. Florida State's leading rebounder as well, averaging over 6 rebounds per game and leading scorer. And he's going to be called upon to do a lot this year for the Seminoles, especially if they're going to be successful, because he's one of the very few guys that has a lot of experience. A lot of these guys got tested last year, but he has a lot of experience over the past couple of years of playing on the big stage.
And a little collision there, inadvertent, between Kofor and 2 Charleston Southern players. And correct, they have no whistles. It was just an accident, but it wiped out 2 people.
Now you see Florida State actually going to the 2-3 zone. Something that Leonard Hamilton implemented with this team about 2-3 years ago and giving him opportunity to play some zone. He has always been a diehard man-to-man guy. But give Coach Hamilton a lot of credit for the way that he's adapted in his 60s to the way the game is being played today.
We've both known Leonard a long time. That man never ages.
No, he doesn't.
Seriously.
I had the opportunity to read an article about him and talking about him growing up in Gastonia and the ability to be able to jump. And so when you say never ages, I don't think he can jump like he used to be able to. But outside of that, Coach Ham still feeling young.
Gopher hits again, and now the senior from Fayetteville, Georgia, beginning to pick it up. As Corey mentioned, he's had a nice run lately for the Seminoles. 60% from the field.
And Phil Cofer playing this year, not having to worry about injuries, has dealt with back injuries, ankle injuries over the past couple of seasons. Had a very good freshman year at Florida State, but since then has been banged up, but gotten himself back into great shape and playing good basketball.
Look out here, Obiagu. Will they finish with it? Yes! Timeout, Buccaneers. Largest lead for FSU tonight.
And give Terrence Mann tremendous credit for recognizing the big fella running the floor. You got to give him an opportunity. And with Ike Obiagu, just throw it up. The big fella can go get it.
You are watching ESPN's Holiday Hoops presented by Zales with Corey Alexander, Dave Lamont, and our ESPN crew. Delighted to be in Tallahassee for this Charleston Southern FSU matchup. These teams play just about every year. And Barclay Radabaugh, the head coach of the Buccaneers, very grateful for that. Loves the competition, says he loves these games where his team is the supposed big underdog. Not really supposed here, they are a big underdog here, but he enjoys these.
Well, and it gives him an opportunity to help sharpen his team up for Big South play, especially when you're able to play this game, later in December before you get closer to conference play in comparison to earlier. Last year, they actually opened up the season against each other. So you get much more out of this if you're Coach Radabaugh playing this game December 18th than you do on November the 12th.
Florida State has just one more non-conference game, and ironically, it's against Southern Mississippi, whom their football program will be playing in the Walk-Ons Independence Bowl. They'll play that here in Tallahassee on the 21st, and then a little Christmas break, and then off to Duke for December 30th.
But you look at that December 21st game, and then you have 9 days off until you have to play at Cameron Indoor. We saw what happened with Florida State when they had a week off for exams, having to play against Oklahoma State. That's a bit concerning for me if I'm Coach Hamilton. He's going to give his guys some time to go home for Christmas, but when they get back
on the 26th,
exactly, it's going to have to be almost like training camp type intensity to get prepared for what they're going to see when they go to Cameron Indoor.
You just saw Charleston Southern's first two free throws of the night. They make one. Man, back iron, rebound, Keeling fighting in traffic and got out-wrestled. Great feed. Man will finish. Excellent pass by Cofer.
And that was one of the mistakes that McConaughey has made. I can't imagine any other mistake he's made in this game. But on that possession, he's trying to signal to the officials that there's a travel going on while Florida State's players continue to play.
Well, Man leads the Noles with 13 points. That's too easy. A big flush by Obiagu.
And Charleston Southern came out in the beginning of the second half, and they matched the intensity of the Seminoles. But since then, Florida State has pretty much taken command of this game, and a lot of it's had to do with the fact of the way they've been moving on the defensive end of the floor.
14 assists, 17 buckets for the Noles. 21 points off of Buccaneer turnovers. A stepped-in jumper, and Man with another rebound. Another good-looking pass. And an easy finish underneath. And a timeout taken by Charleston Southern. A 14-1 Seminoles run.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's. Get great offers when you download the Wendy's app.
State in a 14-1 run in the second half. They took their first three shots, didn't make them. Since then, they've gone 7 of 8, and out of those 7 field goals, Corey, 6 of those have been in the paint. I think about 3 of those have been dunks. A couple layups, nothing to it.
And one of the problems that Florida State presents to many teams is Terrence Mann's ability to handle the basketball and push it in transition Very few teams have, their small forward who can run the floor and make plays the way that he does, and that's really been the difference here in the second half. He's been able to get his hands on the basketball, and he's not looking for a guard. He wants to push the ball and get out in transition and make plays for his teammates.
You saw Florida State extend their defense, and already we're 7 in the shot clock. Keeling was talked out of that jumper. Mitchell throws up an air ball. They got to get rid of it. There's one to shoot. And that didn't go either. Let's see who knocked it out of bounds. It belonged to Florida State, so that was a tough possession. Howard ended up chucking up a shot with a half a second on that shot clock. So Barclay Radabaugh's side right now going through a very tough stretch.
Well, and you almost expect that, especially, when with Florida State, and we were told that Dennis Gates, assistant coach for Florida State, was the bad cop in the halftime locker room this time. He was the one that actually got into the team. And, his spirited conversation with them got them a little bit of energy. And now you see Florida State coming out and playing with that type of passion in the second half, the way that they should have been playing the entire game. So, give Coach Gates some credit for the halftime speech. Coach Hamilton delegating, allowed his assistant coaches to be very vocal in the locker room. Coach Gates getting the guys going.
Once again, here we are, single digits on the shot clock, and an absolute rainbow from Travis McConaughey, and he continues to shoot the long ball well.
We talked about in shoot-around this morning that there were really two guys that Coach Radabaugh could depend upon, and that would be Keeling and McConaughey. And those two guys have shown up, but they haven't gotten a lot of help. And when you're going up and taking on the task of having to play against the Seminoles, you're going to need a strong complement of players to be successful. And right now, it's really only been two guys.
Well, the foul on the jump shooter on McConaughey. They're playing without Philandris Fleming, a freshman guard. They made an adjustment to their starting five tonight with Jamal David starting over Deontay Buskey. I don't think Buskey has even gotten on the floor tonight here and he is not for Charleston Southern. And that's why he's hurt. Correction, that was not Buskey, and my apologies for that. And Jamal David, whom we talked about, number 0, comes in to the game as Cortez Mitchell checks out. They also put Ty Jones in place of Fleming. And with Fleming, they lost 11 points per game. Off to a great start, the freshman out of Athens, Georgia.
Brian Angola giving a lot of attention to that hand, that right hand, his shooting hand. A young man who shot 42% from 3 last year, has not had a great shooting year so far, has had a number of big games, but he's a young man that, Florida State has to depend upon to be able to make shots, and he's also a very good playmaker, 35 assists coming into this game. But Leonard Hamilton talked about the way that his team was shooting the ball. I talked to him a number of times over the summer, and it really hasn't manifested so far into this season as to what it was for these guys and what he was expecting for them over the summertime.
Down to 2. McConaughey forced it, almost made it, and Martin fighting for the rebound, gets it. He's rejected. Obiagu has blocked shots in 9 straight games. He'll pick up another one there. And he talked about the guys that Charleston Southern can count on, Keeling and McConaughey. They have 26 of these 33 points tonight for Charleston Southern. The rest of the team has shot 3 of 16.
And we celebrate Obiagu with the dunk there and also with the block shot on the end before. But the problem for Seminole fans was that came off of another offensive rebound. And again, Obiagu is a very good shot blocker. 26 shot blocks coming into the game. But if that's Marvin Bagley in a week, getting that's not going to be a block shot. That's going to be a dunk.
And that is also a dunk for man on the breakaway as the Noles continue to stretch their lead. And remember, defensively, though, to be fair to Florida State, they have a couple of big players out. They have no real timetable for Kumanji's return. They're hopeful it'll be in mid-January.
As Charleston Southern gets another offensive rebound. Now, Florida State is playing a zone, which makes it even more difficult to find your box-out responsibilities and match up and rebound. But it has to be more of an effort as we see another offensive rebound.
And another block. So we've got this game pretty much nailed right there, don't we? Great pass inside. Another opportunity of points in the paint. Obiagu got bumped that time by Jamar Martin, giving up about 7 or 8 inches.
Well, regardless of the offensive rebounds, if you're a Seminole fan, you love to see Terrence Mann getting out on the break, finishing with the two-hand slam.
Florida State has a tough schedule. We've alluded to it. Here's their first 4 games in the ACC in 12 days. Hello, welcome to Durham. Come on back. Who's waiting for you? Uncle Roy and North Carolina. Staying in the state of Florida, are we? The U and Coach L on January 7th. And back home for Louisville. Not an easy out, no matter what's been going on there. That's 12 days of joy for Florida State. It could be if they do it well.
Well, and when you look at the ACC, you have to play these teams regardless. The fact that you play these 4 at the start of ACC play. But there are no easy wins in the league right now when you think about it. Pittsburgh's down a little bit, but outside of that, I mean, look at Duke going to Boston College to open up ACC play and coming away with the loss as the #1 team in the country. And Boston College, who's been up and down, but, you know, their perimeter, they've got guys that can go out and get it done. So even though you have to play these 4 tough games to start out ACC play, you're going to play these guys anyway. Sure. So, you know, and if you're Florida State, you want to realistically be 2-2 at the end of that 4-game stretch, and that gets you off to a very good start in ACC play.
Charleston Southern has just been cold in this half. They've had 1 bucket in the last 8 minutes and 15 seconds and counting. 2 out of 13 in the half. And they've been outscored by 17 during this span. And again, we go down to single digits in the shot clock. Jones pulls up from the elbow. No chance at all. And here come the Notes. Walker open. I would love to know how many times Charleston Southern has had to shoot. Lane just opened up wide and easy for Forrest. How many times the Buccaneers tonight have had to shoot with under 10 seconds or even under 5 or 6 in this game?
And give Florida State a lot of credit for getting the job done defensively on the first shot. Now, they haven't been good on the second shot, but they have done a very good job contesting the first shot, and as you mentioned, making Charleston Southern have to use the shot clock to get off a quality look.
And David had his shot altered, but another offensive rebound for the Buccaneers. And a very calm shot by Christian Keeling. By the way, we should tell you what the Buccaneers have yet coming up. Johnson and Wales on the 21st and Longwood, and that's a conference game for them. So their conference play begins on December 30th, and they will be home for that one. Oh, man, beautiful hook pass and another flush from Cofer.
But you see what makes Terrence Mann so dangerous. It's not just his ability to get to the rim and score. He's looking for his teammates as well, and we've seen him throw a number of spectacular passes here so far in this game, and he continues to develop as a player, not just, you know, came in pretty much raw, rebounder, could push the ball a little bit, but now he's doing everything. Every phase of the game has improved for Terrence Mann.
Well, he has 15 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds. Some of them, by the way, have now reached double digits in dunks.
And another offensive rebound for Charleston Southern.
Like every time we start a conversation, they get an offensive rebound, and it leads to 3 more points. It's a long 3 from David.
And that's what you normally give up. The three-pointer after the offensive rebound is one of the best shots to take because the defense is always scrambling. No one has their assignments to be able to get to a shooter. And a great job there by Keeling, you know, penetrating, but more importantly, finding the open man and getting another bucket for Charleston Southern.
It should be noted that was an offensive rebound for Florida State, and they'll get another chance. We approach the 8-minute mark here in the second half. Oh, man. Tough pass. And it leads to a 3. Give him 7 assists. And Cofer can slam it or swish it.
And we talked about Terrence Mann and his growth as a player, the ball handling and passing he showed on that last possession as Meconico knocks down another 3-pointer.
That's 5 for him tonight. He's got 17 points. We have a whistle. So suddenly both teams are finding the range of long distance, but it might be too late for the Buccaneers. Trail by 17, just under 8 minutes. That familiar fight song ringing out here from the FSU band as their Seminoles lead this one 58-41, and Terrence Mann is filling up the box score.
Well, you could just say he's simply been the man for Florida State tonight, getting it done on the defensive end of the floor and then turning those defensive opportunities into points on the offensive end of the floor. Not always scoring for himself, but often making plays for his teammates. The beautiful find to Phil Cobra on the last two, one for the dunk and one for the three.
So Mann, 15 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, no turnovers either.
Well, and that's key. Florida State only 5 turnovers on the evening, which is a welcome sign for the Seminoles after 22 turnovers versus Oklahoma State. That's an area where they have cleaned it up tonight. But the area of concern, and you know, it's almost like we're beating a dead horse with it, but it's something that I'm sure Leonard Hamilton has had to address with his team. They have given up 14 offensive rebounds to Charleston Southern. Regardless as to whether Florida State is playing with those two bigs or not, they're still bigger than Charleston Southern. And giving up 14 offensive rebounds, after giving up 14 offensive rebounds and losing to Oklahoma State on Saturday, that has to be a cause of concern for the Seminoles.
Yep, that's a 10-second violation. They did not get it across in time. And it will also help their rebounding when they can get about 14 feet worth of basketball players back, too. A little bit more, right? Almost.
Over 14 feet, yeah. 7'4" and 6. Well, Kevin Gelly is listed at 6'8".
Generously.
I know he may be bigger than 6'8". So I'll give him 6'9" to go along with the 7'4" of Kamaji. So we'll go 14 feet 1 inch.
There you go.
You like that math?
I do.
Okay, put that together.
Very nice. You did go to a good school.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Shot missed by M.J. Walker. Rebound for the Buccaneers.
You know, one of the things, this Florida State team is actually, I think, has an opportunity to even get a lot better as the season goes on. M.J. Walker was a McDonald's All-American freshman who really hasn't yet found his way. He's had a couple of good games, but really hasn't found his way yet as far as how good he can be in this Florida State lineup, and trying to really gain that trust of Leonard Hamilton and being consistent as to what he can do on a nightly basis. As he continues to develop, as Trent Forrest gets back into 100% basketball shape, and then they shoot the basketball better, get Kamaji and Cavanelli back in the lineup, I think this Florida State team will improve as the season goes along. Part of the problem is that tough schedule they have to play, maybe without a couple of those guys early.
Yeah, with no real idea on when both of them are going to be back. And Cavanelli played in the game on Saturday and came up sore after that, so we shall see. Well, don't forget tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN and on the ESPN app. We have the Cherubundi Tart Cherry Boca Raton Bowl. Lane Kiffin and his record-setting FAU off against the Akron Zips, the Mackies champs. FAU's Devin Singletary, the running back, 29 touchdowns this year by his own.
Sounds like my Pop Warner games back in the day.
Except he's outscored 14 FBS teams in touchdowns this year.
Yeah, I didn't do that in Pop Warner.
No, you didn't. Not in Pop.
That wasn't.
Maybe in your neighborhood.
Oh, I was nice in the neighborhood.
And I'm sure everybody knew it, too. So we're only going to see free throws number 3 and 4 here for Keeling. Only attempted 2 on the night. Actually, he's got 2 more coming since he was fouled on 3, so he'll be up to 5 free throws.
And Keeling has been as good as advertised. And I like the way that he's come out and approached this game and played. The environment hasn't been too much for him. And you talk about a young man who's a sophomore, you know, but playing well beyond his years and his experience. Mentioned in the first half, has a chance to be only the 4th Big South player to score 1,000 points before the end of his sophomore year. And that is great company to be in.
Man, a little breakdown on the dribble. Shot came out flat, though, on the rebound to David. Yeah, he has 17 tonight. I love what you said. This gym has not been too big for him.
No, it really hasn't. Some of his teammates it has been, but he and McConaughey, those two guys have shown up and really given Charleston Southern a great effort. And that's something that, you know, Coach Radebaugh talked about. They needed to make sure each game, especially in the non-conference, they find something they can build on, something that they can make it positive out of.
And you notice the two plays, McConaughey going hard to the glass there, didn't quite get it, and then Keeling almost going into the front row of the stands to try to make a play, even though they're down 15 with under 6 to go.
But when your best players do it, it can get contagious, and it's something that I believe that the rest of their team will take on a lot of that responsibility and learning, especially they get into Big South play. But you also have to think about this is a team that has 10 newcomers on its roster. So when you think that it is something that, you know, Coach Radebaugh is having to teach his team on the fly and oftentimes in hostile environments on the road.
And look who stuck his body in against a much bigger player to take a charge, but Christian Keeling.
But and you have to love it, because if you're Coach Radebaugh, you say, hey, look, this is our best guy. This is our guy that's getting a lot of shots. He's scoring a lot of points. He's getting a lot of the attention, but you still see him going over there making plays to try to help us win games. And that may not win them this game, but that can win them games as they get into Big South play.
That is his third foul. Nobody in any significant foul trouble here. David, redshirt freshman who got the start tonight out of Potomac, Maryland.
And David has shown a couple of flashes of being able to make plays. And at 6'6", and I'll give him his size legitimately. I've been shorting guys all night, but I'll give him his size. 6'6" and getting started to point guard shows his versatility. But when you have a guy that scores the way that Keeling does, it's good to have a big point guard like that to get the job done defensively as well as get players in place. And now Keeling getting out an opportunity in transition. And give Charleston Southern a lot of credit. You know, it's a 13-point game. Crazier things have happened, but they have not given up on this game. Just like that, a straight 4-0 run.
And a near block by Howard instead turns into a three-point play opportunity. Well, Barclay Radebaugh, head coach, told us today, my guys will play hard. And he's absolutely right.
And I like what he said about his team even more as we see Brian Angola tight roping along the baseline, taking the contact and finish. But Coach Radebaugh told us, first and foremost, I love this team. He is excited. He's having a great time coaching this team. He likes the energy and the effort that they bring to practice every day. He talked about after they lost to Eastern Kentucky and they were, you know, of course, dejected because it was a game that they felt like they should have won, but they came into practice the next day and extremely excited to be there at practice and practice with a lot of enthusiasm. And he felt good about them coming into this game and competing.
Seminoles, 12 of their last 14 buckets have come from the paint. McConaughey has checked out of the game. Keeling remains in. Mitchell has come on. Jones, good pass there. That's a tough shot. Front of the rim, man with the board. Back to man. Oh my, yes!
Brian Angola with the beautiful feed, and this time Terrence Mann the recipient, but Mann got the break started with the rebound, getting it out in transition. And that's where Florida State is so dangerous. You do not want to allow the Seminoles to play in transition. You have to make them a half-court team and make long shots against you because they have the athletes and the playmakers to get the job done when they get out in transition.
You see the difficulty that Obiagu, a 7-footer, by the way, the Nigerian native, represents. You just can't go up against him if you're shorter like that, Ali. And no oop, however.
Well, actually, there was an oops.
Oops, I said oops. Yes. Jones, look out, draws the foul. 66-50, 3:34 remaining. Charleston Southern, a plucky bunch from the Big South, giving FSU hard workout.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Zales. 'Tis the season to save and sparkle more than ever. And one-a-day men's and women's.
On the campus of Florida State. And very, very close to that campus, the Tucker Center, where Florida State leads Charleston Southern 66-50. Stat of the night, you've got the leading scorers for both sides. Keeling and McConico, 19-17. Kofer and Mann, 19-17. So what's the difference? The rest of Florida State has 30. The rest of Charleston Southern just 14.
I'll tell you what, you have been a math whiz here this evening.
Much easier when somebody else is doing the counting for you.
Well, I was giving you credit. I mean,
no, I
knew that.
I just, that's okay. I'll pass it along where it's deserved. I'll hog it when I want to, though. Savoy into the game now for the Noles with the pass. Come up to the 3-minute mark. He'll take a beautiful spin. Rotated perfectly into the basket for the junior from Las Vegas.
And a great play by M.J. Walker finding Savoy in the corner. And these are important minutes. You know, people will look at it and maybe call it garbage time. These are important minutes to see P.J. Savoy start to knock down some shots and get in the rhythm. He's going to be called upon often for Florida State, especially when teams zone the Seminoles, which we can see often if they're not shooting the basketball very well. He's one of the guys they got to rely on to be able to go knock down shots.
Yeah, he came into this game a 31% three-point shooter. We saw a tremendous effort here by Forrest.
And you see Trent Forrest continuing to play regardless of the score. And that's really who he is, a guy that Leonard Hamilton loves as a point guard and playmaker for this team, an excellent defender, and just getting back into 100% basketball shape and playing at the level he was before he got that bone bruise in his knee.
Savoy chucking one there, and a rebound fought for by two Buccaneers, and finally coming away with it was Jordan Jones. Well, you brought up a good point. These minutes here, coaches watch these intently.
They really do, and they use them in film sessions, film study. And also, more pro, they want to know who's going to continue to go out and play team basketball in comparison to going out trying to get theirs. You know, you see Savoy taking those shots, but those are shots that he takes in the normal flow of a game. Leonard Hamilton does not want to see his team go out and guys get theirs, and that's part of the reason why you see them having one of the longest home winning streaks in the country at 25 games, and most likely will end up at 26 tonight, because they played the game the right way, and they use a lot of players to be able to do it. Started back in the 2016 season, 2015-2016 season, and have not lost a game at home since.
Maybe he's being told, don't shoot that. I mean, you never know. Take a little more time off, perhaps, but Florida State looks to be in the driver's seat to improve to 10-1. They started 10-1 last season. They were picked 8th by the media in the ACC this year. But that still might get you a tournament spot. So
I will honestly believe there will be at least 8 to 10 in the ACC this year. I mean, you look at it and you think about some of the best teams in the country. I mean, think about Florida and what they've been able to do throughout the beginning of the year, but yet they have losses to both Florida State and Clemson. Two teams that I believe can be NCAA tournament teams coming out of the ACC. You know, the Big 12 has had a great winning percentage in non-conference play, but I still believe that the ACC is the best conference in the country. I might be a little biased.
No, but you know what? You know what? The SEC looks pretty tough this year, though. But I agree with you. Listen, I grew up on ACC basketball, so I probably will always favor them just a little bit. Of course, that's when Maryland was in the ACC. Keeling
has put together a solid performance, going out and taking his shots. And again, he averages 17 points per game.
He's got 21 tonight, and that's going to be 4 straight 20-point games for him, and he is the game's high scorer with under 90 seconds left.
But he hasn't forced anything, and you see him still continuing, even though the game is out of reach, continuing to defend and play the game the right way. You know, and he hasn't forced shots. He hasn't gone out of his way to try to score, to do anything outside of what he would normally do in a game. He's just played a solid basketball game. Very impressed with Christian Keeling. Big South, watch out for this young man. I tell you what, he didn't get Rookie of the Year. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But this man, this young man could have a Big South Player of the Year on his resume by the time he leaves Charleston Southern.
Well, tonight on SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt after Monday Night Football, he'll tell you how that NFC South could shake out, what it means for the Falcons, a look at the Warriors and the Rockets, and what is Kobe Bryant's legacy as both his numbers are retired by the Lakers. They didn't retire 45 for Jordan, did they, in Chicago?
He only wore it for a few games.
Yeah, good point.
But I tell you what, I played against number 8 Kobe Bryant a lot more than I played against 24. Number 8 was special. And if he had to take one, Honestly, and I know 24 was great, but man, number eight was special. And number 8 has 3 championships.
Number 8, as I say, had different hairstyle and a good partner in crime in the middle.
Yes, he did. But, you know, that partner in crime in the middle, I always go back to that. And I have this conversation. I work with so many young players, and we have this conversation. They say, yeah, but he had Shaq. If you remember the series against Indiana in the NBA Finals, the game Kobe didn't play, Indiana won. But the 4 games that Kobe played, it was.
Well, with 34.3 to go and a 12-point deficit, Jones, I don't know if he meant to foul. He seemed a little disappointed that he got called, and I think coach probably told him don't do that. And now Barclay Radaball is going to coach him up just a little bit again. Maybe remind him, hey, we got a long bus ride. Yeah, this coaching moment is not over.
Their coaching moments are never over.
Yeah, Ty Jones.
It's always the opportunity to coach your team up and get better.
He got a free lesson that he probably didn't wish he had to go through.
But that's what we talk about with Coach Radaball. The only way to learn in this game is through experience, and his team is getting tremendous experience right now. And give them credit for what they've done on the offensive glass. You know, we've talked about Florida State's deficiencies and what they haven't done taking care of their defensive glass. But you got to give Charleston Southern credit for going after the basketball. This is a very good offensive rebounding team. And they came out and got the job done on the offensive glass here tonight against the Seminoles.
It was their 15th offensive rebound compared to 4 for Florida State, but they've only gotten 7 second chance points out of it.
Well, I didn't say they were a great finishing team off offensive rebounds.
But I think, and that further proves your point that you didn't make.
But you got to get them. That's the thing. When you go get them, you have to have the opportunity to score. And that's something I think will happen for them. And more importantly, probably find some open threes for Keeling as well when they get those opportunities on the offensive glass.
Barclay Radaball has put his jacket back on and reminded them as he fixes his collar, no more fouls. And so this one's going to go in the win column for the Seminoles. The 24th ranked team in the country improves to 10-1. Charleston Southern, an excellent effort from them tonight, without question. I know there are no moral victories, but Barclay Radaball might have a sneaky good team in the Big South when they get to conference play on December 30th. We'll be talking to the winning coach, the winningest coach in Florida State history. One more W for Leonard Hamilton, number 492 in his long coaching career, when we return to Tallahassee. Courtside after Florida State's victory over Charleston Southern by head coach Leonard Hamilton. And tonight, the good Leonard, 21 assists and only 11 turnovers, exactly half of what happened Saturday, but they gave you a very hard time on the boards, especially on their offensive boards.
Well, and that's been a problem of ours all year long. We still have some areas of our game where we still need to work on. I've said that all along that we're definitely not the finished product. We still got a lot of areas of our game that we're still working on. Keeping people off the boards happens to be one of them. We have some strong points. We're still extremely young, and some of the things that we are trying to grow in, areas we're trying to grow in, we're still struggling in those areas, like ball movement and player movement. We came out the second half, moved the ball a little bit better, and got half percentage shot. First half, I think we had 35 possessions, and we averaged 2.1 pass per game per possession. That's not efficient enough in order to play against the caliber of competition that we're going to be playing once we get to the tournament. So those are things that I think we can correct. I'm just glad that we're able to find ways to win games while we're still developing.
And you talk about development, you know, Terrence Mann and what he was able to do today, scoring, but more importantly, the way that he passed the ball and found his teammates, you have to be happy with his effort.
There's no doubt about that, but we need to have everybody needs to be in that same mindset. I thought the ball in the first half was sticking. Not that they're playing selfish. It's just that we're not making good decisions. You know, we're trying to get them to make, like most coaches, make a decision in 0.5 seconds. Right now, when we take 3 dribbles in one spot, that means either you hanging onto the ball or someone else is not open. But those are things that are fixable.
Well, Leonard, congratulations on this win tonight. You got one more non-conference game coming up. You've had great success non-conference the last couple of years, and good luck against Southern Mississippi.
Well, thank you very much. Merry Christmas.
Yes, same to you. Exactly. Leonard Hamilton with a victory tonight. We'll talk to Terrence Mann, Florida State star, tonight when we return.
There's a bounty for all with the 76ers and Knicks, Cavaliers and Warriors, Wizards and Celtics, Rockets and Thunder. To top it off, the Raiders versus the Eagles on Monday Night Football. ESPN and ABC. Happy holidays from our family to yours.
Or Terrence Mann for the Seminoles, 17 points on 8 of 11 shooting, 7 assists and 6 rebounds. You did miss a 3, so, you have to work on that. But no, you played against a team that played you hard the whole way, even down to the end. They're taking charges in the last minute or so. What kind of a test was this for you going in as you get ready for the ACC?
It was a good test, man. They drove us well. They tested our defensive principles, and that was key for them. So, it was a good test. Dudes in the ACC are going to drive us the same way. So it got us ready.
Your mom is a coach now, so therefore, did she teach you about being a complete player? How much influence did she have in that?
She stresses it a lot. She always tells me, just go out there, rebound, do all the little things, and, your game will come. Don't go out there and force anything.
Well, and what's happened from your rebounding is your ability to not only get the ball off the glass, but to get out in transition and make plays for your teammates. It looks like you took a lot of pride in that tonight.
Yeah, I definitely did. My teammates did a good job of seeing the back of dude's head and back cutting, especially Phil Kofer. I was finding him a lot. So, they did a good job helping me out with that.
And we mentioned the rebounding, though. I know, Coach Hamilton, you're going to hear it undoubtedly at your next film session about the offensive rebounding that was allowed tonight.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, you threw a couple lookaways today, dropping the dimes. And, when did that become such a big part of your game?
Recently, I guess. I haven't been doing that, but, like I said, they did a good job, cutting, so I found them.
Well, only 1 turnover with those 7 assists also, so that was just part of a night where you did cut the turnovers down. That was a big emphasis, I know, after the loss in Sunrise to Oklahoma State. Yeah. You cut them exactly in half, 22-11. What was the difference there?
Just taking care of the ball, and, our coach is stressing taking care of the ball. We went over a lot of things in practice, how to get out of the spread and the traps and stuff like that, so we did a good job of that tonight.
Well, you played 33 minutes. You played probably 32 of those without a turnover, so expect a phone call from Mom when you get home.
Yeah, definitely. She's going to be happy. She's going to be happy.
Yeah, but she won't forget the 1 turnover, though, will she?
She won't forget that.
Yeah, no question. Terrence, congratulations. Good luck against Southern Miss, and certainly when the ACC arrives.
Thank you so much.
Which will be very, very soon. So, Corey, what do you take out of this tonight for Terrence and for the Seminoles?
Well, I believe it's important for the Seminoles and Terrence Mann especially to be able to get the ball off the glass, take care of their defensive board, and then get out in transition. I think that's key for the Seminoles to be able to play a full-court game in comparison to having to sit and play against an opposing team's half-court D. But with the tough schedule coming up, as Terrence mentioned earlier, it's going to be important for them to take care of that defensive glass, because if they give up 15 offensive rebounds to Duke and Louisville and North Carolina, those will spell losses. So that's something I'm sure they'll clean up during the Christmas break.
Yeah, there's a lottery game in Florida called the Play 3. 4, 7, 6 are not lucky numbers for the Seminoles. But you never know. They could be. I mean, they've beaten these teams in the past, and I'm sure they think there's certainly no reason they can't do it again, even opening at Duke and certainly with North Carolina. Terrence, you see a schedule like that, would you like to tell the ACC to back off a little bit? Or?
Yeah, definitely. They kind of hit us with it last year, too. We had 6 games in a row that were tough. So I guess we're kind of getting used to it now.
But is there any game in the ACC that's easy?
No.
And you won 5 of those 6 games last year, so there's something you should be excited about.
Yeah. I mean, we just got to come with the same energy and doing the little things, and we should be fine.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you again, Terrence. Congratulations on your complete game tonight into the Seminoles for improving to 10-1. Rebounding from a loss to Oklahoma State. Our final score for the final time tonight, 24th ranked Florida State defeating Charleston Southern from the Big South, 69-58. Coming up, Boise State at SMU. Should be a good one from Dallas. For my partner, Corey Alexander, and our ESPN crew, I'm Dave Lamont. Thank you for watching. Good night from Tallahassee. And now, let's send it to SMU.